Okay, so it's Si and Jay here for the Friday Frenzy on TBFM Internet Radio, and we're sat here with Enslaved.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Pretty good, man, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have a good ride out here?
Absolutely. We were playing in Manchester last night, so yeah, it's pretty close. Had a nice ride.
So you played with Winter Philip and Ancient Ascendant.
Yeah.
But one of the bands actually pulled out of the tour. Do you want to elaborate on why, or you don't have to?
I actually don't have any idea. They sort of really put an effort into getting on the tour, and did a good job with that, and then they pulled out to go on another tour. So
right, okay.
I'm guessing maybe to me it sounds like a bit of an ambitious manager lurking in the background, and hopefully somebody tells them that it's not really a good way to do it.
Yeah, okay. So you just played Manchester. You got a load of UK dates in the next few days. Where's the best place for you to play in the UK? Like, where have you played before and been treated well? And
I think we're treated pretty well all over the place, you know. We're easygoing guys, and as long as they give us some beers, cognac, and some food, we're happy. Yeah, we don't need, sports massage and all that crap.
So what about for crowd reception then?
We have a special relation to London, obviously, because London was the place that we sort of started out our. If you want to call it an international career, because you had promoters over there that kept bringing us over before we started touring properly. So they will fly us over to do weekend in London since the mid-90s, basically. And we keep meeting the same people that came to those shows. And we just love playing it. If it's the Underworld, if it's the London Garage, or, we're missing the Astoria too, which is gone now. But totally love London, both the city, the metal audience, the Indian restaurants around King's Cross.
That's always good. Nice curry.
Yeah. and the fact you can bring your own alcohol
that's
to restaurants.
Yeah, that's great. Dangerous though.
I keep telling the Norwegian restaurants, you need to look at this business model. It's great.
It's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you think of Hammerfest then? As in, it's a festival. Everyone's in caravans rather than freezing their asses off in tents. So, are you familiar with this setup? Was this kind of?
I've heard about Hammerfest for years and years, because obviously, Metal Hammer is a big magazine in Norway. I guess it's the biggest non-Norwegian metal magazine. And they've been profiling the festival quite extensively. So we wanted to play her. That's one thing with profiling. Also, it's North Wales, a part of the UK we haven't been to. But I didn't know that the setup was like this. So I was a bit surprised when I saw like the mini golf course and stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, I really like it. The last time I went tenting for a festival was back in 2004.
Yeah.
To see the Dark Throne show. And I still got the scars from falling asleep outside my tent and fucking
your wallet stolen and your phone nicked.
Yeah.
So speaking of black metal, I'm sure you get asked this a lot. So you started off as more of a traditional black metal band, and do you think the genre is still relevant today? And do you?
Yeah, the weird thing is we started off as almost a black metal band in the sense that we have the sound, we have the common influences, but we never have the satanic thing. And we belong to the old school way of classifying metal is by the concepts. So in my world, I would say that everything from Danzig to Vatain is black metal, because they have a satanic
that vibe about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
While a band like Enslaved might sound more black metal than Danzig at times, but actually never were black metal. But we're definitely from the same scene, and yeah, black metal is still relevant in certain aspects. I think there's some bands doing some interesting things and pushing the boundaries, like Deathspell Omega and taking that seriously. But for me, a lot of the black metal scene has just been watered out in two ways. One way is gone back into punk, I think. It's crawled back up its own ass and become, because now it's all about how much stuff you can snort, or if you're dangerous and stab people with a knife rather than
back to primitive roots.
Yeah, it's more like it's more appreciated if you're a tough guy with a knife than actually a good guitar player. That's one aspect. I think it's boring. I was never into punk.
So what would you say your other influences are? So maybe some non-black metal influences, or maybe even just rock or dance or anything. There's so many things. It's Is there an album that you all sit down and listen to and all enjoy? And
Yeah, we have a lot of that. We have, of course, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and those like big classics. But the roots of Enslaved is pretty basic. When you go back, it can be classified. You have Bathory, of course, and a band that, oddly enough, still is heavily influential for us is Master's Hammer from the Czech Republic. Their first albums in the early 90s. It really defined, and I still catch myself writing new songs. And like, fuck, this sounds like Master's Hammer. How can you keep going back to the same album? So you agree on a lot of stuff, but then when you get into more specifics, I guess I like more stuff that's off the main road. Whether it's contemporary music or like a lot of the not so commercial jazz and that stuff.
Just something that interests you musically.
Yeah, just something that goes outside of the normal chord.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the balance in the band. And then you have Herbrand, the keyboard guy singing the clean vocals, and Ice Deli, the guitarist. No, they can appreciate a good rock and roll album or even some stuff that's pretty horrible to me, like pop music. But I think it's a good balance.
Okay, cool. So do you write mainly in the studio, or do you jam live and do your writing there, or is it a bit of both?
All the music is written prior to the studio. The studio is for, we're pretty old school in that sense, that this is for recording. And we still have, I guess, coming from the scene when you had a very limited, tight budget. We watched Some Kind of Monster thing with Metallica, and sitting around for a week composing like 2 bars of music, and makes me, it's just insane.
You wish you had the patience or something. Music in a week.
For me, I go back to being an underground new artist, and I just think, how can people spend money like that? Why are you not in your rehearsal room doing this job?
Because you've got like so much home recording now. Like a lot of music is written. It's obviously written at home, like in the studio, which is changing its why kind of hours.
I'm trying to do both. I like to record and structure my ideas with my home recording devices. But I need to go somewhere and bring my laptop, whether it's to the cabin in Sweden or just might be a hotel in the next city in Norway. Just have to be sort of secluded from everyday life. Then I write it, organize it, but then we go into the rehearsal room, and especially for the last 2 albums, there's like 3/4 or even almost a whole year of working several times a week with the same stuff over and over again and trying new angles. Because as you say, it is changing the songwriting when people are doing all the structuring in their home studios now. I think the music loses a lot of vitality from it, so we're trying to go backwards.
Yeah, cool.
In that sense.
So, Rita released last year. What do you have lined up recording-wise next?
We're going to do a couple of reissues this year. We're going to do our first full-length album, Vikelig Veldig. And we're finally going to get to release that on vinyl. We're doing it ourselves. Some stuff like that. And it looks like there's going to be a live DVD at the end of the year.
Okay, great.
And I'm guessing a new album next year.
Cool.
Because I think I'm going to start writing the first few songs from the next album on this tour, actually. It feels like really imminent that something's coming up now.
Yeah, in the right mindset.
Yes. Hey, this is Eva from Norwegian band Enslaved. You're listening to TBFM Online.